I'll take TA again. We'll do that matchup again, because I want to be able to use traps. I have no idea why that happened. Maybe it was just like a game bug. Radiant SF's a lot better than Dire SF too. Yeah, fire away. Ask whatever you want. No. So the way refraction works is you need to have a damage source of 10 damage or more to remove a refraction. And Orb of Venom does not deal 10 damage, so it doesn't remove refraction charges. It's a good thought. The reason that matters is like when you play Veno in the mid lane, for example, you want Veno to level up his passive to level 2, because when his passive is at level 2, the ticks from his Poison Sting will remove refractions. So that's like a Veno thing, but it's not specific to any other hero really. Like no other hero has like a level upable dot that like is below the threshold, and then when you level it up, it goes over that threshold. So it's really just Veno that you're considering that.
Prepare for battle.
But it's a good thought, right? Like thinking of damage over time stuff to deal with TA is good. The reality is that you're just gonna have to like beat it through it. And at level 1, like refraction's really easy for you to beat through, kind of thing. Because TA like has decent armor but pretty low HP. And if you're able to just hit through the first 3 refraction charges, she's essentially a melee hero, which means you're gonna be able to bully her. It's just if you you have to do it in a way such that you're getting last hits, right? So like planning your aggression against TA around when creeps are not going to be dying is like a really crucial point for SF, because you want to be getting last hits. So like anticipating, like if a creep's going to come up in 2 seconds, you have time to maybe get 2 harasses off. But if there's a creep that's like needs to be last hit now, then maybe you just don't. Yeah. Maybe my block will be better this time too, so there's that.
Well, that's it. The secret is out. That is clear. As the temple requires.
And like early on, some TAs, for example, will take Psyblades first, especially against like SF sometimes. And they'll try to be aggro and like harass you with it.
On your guard.
But that's good. I like that you're using raises to get last hits. God damn.
I sense some mystery. Readily. As the temple requires.
Oh, I was out of range.
My purpose is clear.
So you don't want to raise into refraction, right? So like all this time you're kind of like running around and dodging. I want you to be like trying to hit me, right? Like you're trying to apply pressure to me. And you do that by getting rid of my refractions. You don't necessarily do that by just like sitting back and farming. Because like you'll lose if you sit back and farm versus TA. She has 85 base damage with refraction. And like right now, like I'm harassing you essentially. But I'm doing it the TA way, which is I'm not like standing near you, but I'm like moving to try and Psyblade you. And like that's the trick, right? like I'm able to harass you while you're unable to harass me. And that's part of the reason that you're like losing this lane. The thing is that your harass is much more active than TA's. See, like that's good. Like that's the kind of stuff you want to be doing, you know? And it's hard for me to dive you until you get like boots or something. Or until I get boots or I get traps. Like I can run at you sometimes. But you also have to keep track of like how low your HP is going. Like you picked up your bottle there, so like that trade I think was fine. Because there's like no way for me to kill you because I don't have boots. But like if you had made that trade when I was level 6, then it would be a way different story. Right? So like taking into account like what level the heroes are can make a big difference. And like sometimes even versus a TA, if you're like, you can actually go boots first to help you combat like the TA bonus, because a lot of times like a lot of TAs what they'll do is they'll rush boots or they'll rush bottle, sort of like the build I did. I went like a little bit less greedy and went more like a bottle rushy kind of build. And so you as an SF, like the full Wraith Band, like 2 GG branches is kind of like the greedy version of. And like I've just been pushing the lane and using side blades mostly. So one thing to check is like I went for the rune there and you didn't. If you look at my bottle, it'll actually tell you what rune you're going to grab bottom. So like sometimes that can be relevant. It isn't always. But like if I have like a bounty rune in my bottle, then it maybe incentivizes you to go for the bottom rune when you wouldn't necessarily. Because you know that it's a real rune. Or sometimes like if you're an Alk, for example. Yeah, nope, I cannot set off my traps. I do not know why. I'll have to work on that. Or I'll have to figure out why that is. So like I hit level 6, you didn't have traps. Or you didn't have sentries. It's like, yeah. It's like pretty simple for TA to do. And it's like really hard to dodge, honestly, as an SF. Do you want to swap and try? What are your last hits at, by the way? Yeah, you're doing fine in last hits. We're about even. I'm at like 32. So, it's like pretty close. But it's literally like you just need to buy sentries. You know? Otherwise you'll die. Or you need to have a support buy you them. And like, I can still kill you with the 30%, but if you're good about your positioning, it's much more difficult for me. And like, the opening farm, it makes a big difference, you know? Because if you're able to harass me early and farm up like treads, for example, or like boots and your bottle, you're going to be way stronger in the period where I can kill you than you will be in the...
Pursuit of the mystery. As the temple requires.
You know? Alright, let's swap.
One versus one.
But yeah, it's a dance with TA. You know? Like, you're dancing to avoid... Like, there's a lot of things to think about in the laning phase. It's just like a very high mechanical skill hero from the standpoint of positioning, because her positioning is really important with the way that Psyblades interacts, as well as her changes in range. And so you really have to be really precise about where you click and how you click, and then your anticipation of getting last hits on creeps as well as getting out harass. But what you'll see a lot of the times is, like, when our TZ is mid and he's playing Shadow Fiend, for example, against like a TA, he just right clicks her. He plays hyper aggressive for the first, I don't know, minute or so, because TA, like, he's just trying to get TA off of the creeps essentially.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Wagamama. Yeah, that's a good guide to go for TA. Yeah, Psyblade's level 1. It's mostly to, like, start that opening harass, but it's also for the range. Like, Waga will give you like 800 reasons to do it. But like that's some of the reason why like you can get like level 1 raises instead of level 1 necromastery. But like against TA you kind of want to get your damage going early too. Like best case scenario you get the bounty rune and that like helps you to hit level 2 earlier, and so then the choice between level 1 raises or necromastery isn't as significant because you're halfway to level 2. But in these like 1v1s it like matters a lot more which one you pick. Because you're basically assuring that you're not going to get souls from the first wave.
30 seconds to battle.
Yeah, you can rush bottle. That's fine. Yeah, rushing bottle is fine against TA. Oftentimes I'd recommend it, to be honest. Because you'll get the damage eventually. But like, you're going to use raises mostly early on because you're not going to be able to compete with TA's base damage, which is like 60, plus the 20 damage from refraction. So like, raises are your most reliable way to get CS early on. And if you're going to be using raises early on like that, and like right-clicking aggressively and then CSing with raises, then it's almost better to rush bottle in that kind of a build. Like, the playstyle fits rushing bottle. Plus you're going to take harass from Psyblades. So like, I did kind of like an intermediary build. I went for GG branch and alright, so you know how to pull aggro, that's good. And a lot of it is like you can get the lane advantage early on versus TA by pushing really aggressively like this. Like, that's one of the bigger ways to do it. The other thing to know about TA is that the hero, so like your offensive refraction charges, which give you damage, don't go down when you deny, but they do go down when you go for creep blast hits. So most of the time, like TAs will prioritize denying. But you can see, like, I'm really aggressive about clicking you to get rid of your refraction charges so that you won't contest me in lane. And while I'm not like the best at it, I'm trying to keep you on your defensive. I also got a new mouse today, so got to get used to it. It's a little different. Haste, that is a fucking scary rune. Another thing that you can do, and this is like a little ridiculous, but like let's say you can't afford sentries, you can just buy a TP, and then if she dives you, you just TP away. But most of the time she's gonna have enough damage to kill you before that happens, unless you're like full HP sitting under your tower. So that's like a situational thing that you can do. But like the thing that SF can do that TA can't is that he can push the wave more reliably. And so you like just have to be smart about how you manage that creep aggro. The other way to beat TA is to control the runes. So you can ask your supports, for example, to just rotate to carry, like to get a rune. Like that's like the best way to do it, is like you push out the wave and then you go take a rune. But you can see, like, I'm trying to create the idea that if you come into lane, I'm going to right-click you. And it keeps you kind of off the wave. And, like, you're basically just abusing range. It's like a range versus melee matchup. And you got to play it like that, right? Every time they walk in, you hit them. Like, it's about asserting dominance in the lane. And it gets more and more difficult to do as TA gets higher levels, but it's still possible. Early on, it's very simple to do. And then, like, kind of like an item build, so when you're considering your item build as SF a lot of the times, like, I really like going for Aquila early versus TA, Not only is the extra mana regen nice, but also the extra armor in case she does go on you. And then once you hit this point, you can bully TA, but a lot of the time, like, it all just depends on how well you farmed early on. Like, you even may consider phase boots against her. In terms of raising versus TA, like, a lot of times she's going to want a refraction against your raises, for example, because your raises do a lot of damage. And so what you can do is you can fake cast your raises so that... Oh, you just wasted meld. You can fake cast races such that it forces her to use her refraction. Because I think what you're going to find is that better players are going to typically wait. Tried for a kill there, but I'm bad. Right, like it's all about rune control. Yeah, melds are hard to hit. That's just playing TA. So like some of this is like, it's not a very good demonstration because you're not a great TA player. Oh, I clicked the wrong unit. I'm bad. But the general idea is there. Do you want to keep playing again? You play the SF, I'll play the TA. I think it's better for you to play SF, especially because you want to learn it from that perspective. I just wanted you to feel what it was like from the TA perspective, right? Like if I'm really aggressive about getting those refraction charges off of you early, then you feel like it's really hard for you to play aggressive. Okay, try again.
One versus one.
I also think you could have just killed me with that haste rune at minute 2. Like if you just waited for your refractions. So if you like played a little defensively and you'd used your refraction. Like a yeah, if you just used refraction and then waited and kept the defensive charges, then you could have just hasted past and then killed me. Yeah. Like, haste on TA means as an SF, most of the time you're just going to end up sitting at your tower for the 2 minutes. Like, it sucks. It's literally like a game... It's like a lane-winning rune for TA. Sort of like how a bounty rune is like a... Like, sort of like the rune that Alk looks for. TA with haste is probably the scariest hero in the early game. And if she has haste, you just kind of have to just, like, let it go. You know, like, you're not in this lane to win, you're in this lane to survive and catch up in the mid-game, and then you can win if TA makes mistakes. But, like, I like to assume that the other player is good until I see how they play, and then when they show that they have weaknesses in certain areas, then I try to capitalize on it. But I assume that every player I play against is Arteezy, and then as they make mistakes like pick Ember and go mid and whatnot,
Battle begins.
then I capitalize on it.
Well, that's it. The secret is
Like,
out.
you shouldn't let the matchup dictate how the matchup should go, because I've seen a lot of SFs beat TAs, and I've seen a lot of TAs beat SFs, even though it is TA favored kind of thing.
As the tempo requires.
If you have any questions, like, let me know. Let me know too. I know I'm like doing a lot of talking. Chit chat, chit chat. So there you go.
My purpose
Like, I don't have refraction right now either, so.
on my way. I know it.
Alright, bit too aggressive. Good try though.
Mysterious until it becomes sweet.
It's alright.
The tempo direct.
Remember, you're a farmer, dude, right? Like, and like, if I try to run from, like, you did put me into like a bad situation, in the sense that, oh, what am I trying to say? Like, you put me in a bad situation in terms of like, I basically just had to fight you, because if I ran, then you would be able to hit your medium raise on me. But like, my HP was too high for you to fight me at that point. So like, it's a really good thought, honestly. But like, you were 100 damage off, essentially being able to kill me.
As the tempo requires.
Yeah, you missed raise. But like, I never like went to a range that allowed you to hit the medium raise. Like, I knew this short range raise was gonna hit me.
On your guard. Dire victory.
But like, that's like a haste turn on TA. There's like literally nothing you can do. Like, I still had 4 refraction charges for defensive purposes. Yeah, it's a cancer rune for TA. And if TA gets it, you're basically fucked. You just have to hope that the 2-minute rune isn't haste, or you have to be really smart about securing the runes. And what I mean by that is you're really good about managing the equilibrium, and you push out the wave such that you're able to get the rune. Like, denying runes to TA is huge because mana is her damage and her defensive, right? Because she's got to use refraction basically on cooldown, and it's 100 mana. And like, a good TA will bottle crow, and so like, denying the runes won't do that much, to be honest. But it will prevent like a TA from getting a haste and just killing you.